So Cheryl Reeve was known for a while as being the #1 Caitlin Clark hater coach. She was known for the going on Twitter and basically saying the WNBA is about more than one player.
Cheryl Reeve, who has been downplaying Caitlin Clark's significance for months, suddenly dropped a bombshell that is shaking the WNBA. Rhea at last acknowledged what supporters have been saying all along. Clark had permanently altered the game.
Which is beautiful. That's the way it should be.
It's safe to say that Cheryl Reeve is now experiencing the Caitlin Clark effect, but the worst part is yet to come. We're going to reveal all the details, so let's go back a little to when she was asked about Clark. Reeve didn't just give Clark a small plug. She went all out and said, Clark is behind league's recent growth. That's not just a big deal, it's a seismic shift in how the WNBA sees its future.
But as a coach of the home team, there's going to be a lot of people cheering for that other side.
I'll get 2 shits.
How about one?
Not even 1 shit.
Remember Cheryl Reeve's remarks about Clark before to the season? She wasn't just doubtful. She was openly contemptuous of all the excitement surrounding Clark, and she detested her admirers. She was that obstinate.
Obviously have an issue with Caitlin Clark.
You may remember her well-known statement that there are multiple players in the WNBA. It was as if she were attempting to extinguish a fire before it had even begun.
Comes to her relationship with Caitlin Clark fans, it was a bit prickly for a large chunk of the season because Reeve was very dismissive about questions regarding Clark and the Olympics.
However, something occurred, and you won't believe what Reeve said in her most recent interview. It seems like she completely changed her mind. How did Cheryl Reeve go from disparaging Caitlin Clark to referring to her as a transformational figure? We're talking about unreserved praise for Clark's impact, and Reeve didn't just acknowledge that she was mistaken.
And it's nice to see Reeve go from sort of annoyed about answering Caitlin Clark questions to offering that praise and realizing what has happened for the women's game as a whole.
Reeve truly stated that Caitlin Clark is responsible for 80% of the league's recent expansion. Let that sink in for a moment. This isn't merely a small pat on the back. Rather, it's Reeve essentially admitting that she was mistaken and that Clark is the genuine deal. But why the abrupt change? What caused Reeve to retract her statement?
Her tone seemed to change. And she talked about the growth of the game as a whole in her exit interview, which I thought was well said and thoughtful.
Did you know that the Minnesota Lynx had the highest ticket sales this year? She even referred to it as one of the franchise's best years in terms of business and fan engagement. And the thing is that she's giving a lot of that credit to Clark. It turns out that it wasn't just about the numbers. It was also about what she saw happening right in her own city.
I was in Barclays Center, 18,000 people. What a vibe. I was at the Target Center for the Minnesota game. 19,000 people. What a vibe. I mean, it's awesome to see. 2 separate arenas, neither involving Caitlin Clark, filled to the brim. Amazing.
However, this is where things start to get interesting. Reeve is not only referring to Clark as a passing fad. Rather, she is arguing that this is a part of something larger. She is drawing a comparison between the development of the NBA and Major League Soccer, which is significant since we are discussing a completely new degree of popular appeal.
For women's basketball. And, it's pretty obvious what has happened. Caitlin Clark brought a lot of new eyes to the game. And a lot of the new fans gravitated to the rest of the league as well, which is beautiful.
And Reeve's admission has everyone wondering what this means for the league's future, because if Clark can have this kind of an impact in her rookie season, just think of what's going to happen next. We're not just seeing a new star player, we're watching the entire league level up. So, the million-dollar question is, if one of the WNBA's most respected figures, Cheryl Reeve, says that Clark changed the game, what does that mean for everyone else? Are we about to witness a completely new era of women's basketball? More importantly, are you prepared for it? If Reeve's statements are any indication, we're just getting started.
This is not hype. It's okay. It's okay. She can play.
Yeah. Oh.
Reeve acknowledged that Clark altered the game, but this is where things get crazy, because the veterans who were ignoring all of the Clark fanfare were singing a different tune. Now, let's hear what WNBA star Satu Sabali had to say about Clark.
And it's the face right now, and that's also good. Like, she's selling out gyms, of course. Like, why would you hate against that? We had a sold-out home opener. Like, I think it was a practice game. Like, it wasn't even serious. And it was sold out. Like, we benefited from that because now we have all our fans there, and they're excited, and you have new people coming into a market. She is her own economy, and that is amazing.
What caused these seasoned pros to completely change their minds? Let's examine Clark's rookie revolution. You may recall that everyone said Clark wouldn't be able to handle the professionals, but guess what? Clark not only handled the WNBA, she dominated her first few games.
Let's understand this about Caitlin Clark. Number 1 overall pick, on pace to become the first rookie ever to average at least 15 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. But she also leads the league with 5.4 turnovers per game, 1.3 more than any other player in the league. She's shooting just under 36% from the field and 30% from three-point range.
Here's where it gets interesting. Some veterans weren't thrilled about the attention at first. Can you blame them? They've been working hard for years, and then this rookie shows up and takes center stage. However, Clark didn't just appear. She dominated, and even the skeptics couldn't deny her influence as the crowds grew.
How was the attendance for Team USA in the Olympics? What would it have been like if Caitlin Clark was playing on that team? Remember the first game? Look at this right here. National broadcast viewership. What are we talking about here?
You may be wondering, well, but what about the TV ratings? Well, wait till you hear this. The WNBA Finals had a huge audience. Yes, we haven't seen this century. Not only did Clark's presence fill seats, but it also had everyone hooked to their TVs. This kind of engagement is revolutionizing women's basketball.
The Fever will have over 600,000 fans in attendance total this year, and the second best to that was in 1999.
Here's the real kicker, though. According to the startling number that redisclosed regarding Clark's influence on the WNBA, Clark was attracting millions of new fans in addition to increasing attendance and ratings. Millions of people need a moment to process that. We're not just talking about ardent basketball fans tuning in. We're also talking about people who may have never seen a WNBA game before, and all of a sudden, those doubtful veterans like Diana Taurasi are beginning to change their minds. She stated in a recent interview.
Average WNBA viewership, game, 7,300 in attendance. You know what the average attendance is when Caitlin Clark plays home or the road?
What?
15,300,
Wow.
15,300.
The players who may have rolled their eyes at the Clark hype are now witnessing firsthand what she contributes to the league. It's not just about her individual performance. It's about how she's improving the entire sport. Results are hard to argue with, and Clark has been providing them.
I mean, it's amazing. What Caitlin's been able to do in her short career so far has just been nothing short of remarkable. The one thing that I really love about her, she loves the game. You can tell she's put the work in. And even, throughout, her short WNBA career, it's been a lot of pressure, a lot of things thrown at her. And, she keeps showing up and keeps getting better every single game. So her future is super bright. And, being a veteran and being in this league for a long, long time, it's pretty cool to see that.
Thus, what we're witnessing today is a whole rookie revolution rather than just a gifted rookie having a strong season. If this is what Clark is doing in her first season, then get ready because the Caitlin Clark era is just getting started. If you think that Clark's influence ends when she leaves the court, think again. Reeve recently shared something startling about how fans are responding to her influence, and it's unlike anything we've ever seen before. It's not just about the game anymore. It's about a cultural shift that's sweeping the nation, and you won't believe who is watching now.
If we take a look at this line chart, we can see the dip in 2021 because of COVID, and then this huge spike in 2024.
Clark's influence extends beyond the hardwood floors and into the streets, pubs, and even your living room. Remember when the WNBA was just background noise at your neighborhood sports bar? Well, those days are over because Reeve dropped a bombshell about how Clark is completely altering the viewing experience, and it has everyone talking.
Cheryl Reeve, I think she's on the money there. I think a big reason why her team, I'll say it, a big reason for the initial buzz was Caitlin Clark.
Imagine now that these sports pubs are crowded with spectators. Thanks to the Clark effect, everyone is glued to the TV screens when WNBA games are shown. It's no longer just a game. It's an event, and people plan their nights around these games. But here's the really crazy part. It's not just more people watching. It's also who's watching and how they're tuning in. We're seeing fans who had never given women's basketball a second glance suddenly turn into ardent supporters. It's as though Clark's opened up a whole new universe of basketball for folks who didn't even realize they were missing out. College basketball enthusiasts who used to ignore March Madness are now following the Indian fever with the same fervor.
One looking. Here's Clark. She fires. And she hit it!
However, the true game changer is spreading. The WNBA is suddenly more than just background noise in relation to Clark's games. It's the main event. Other teams are showing a spike in interest, and it's not just because they're playing Clark. It's like she set off a chain reaction, and the league is erupting with excitement. However, it gets frustrating because some people are still attempting to minimize what's happening. Can you believe that despite all of this evidence, there are still skeptics out there trying to dismiss Clark's influence?
So if we look at this chart for the 2024 season, the Indiana Fever are pretty much blowing out every other team. They are averaging almost 16,000 per 39 games. So this is taking into consideration not only the Indiana Fever home games, but also when they are on the road.
Some media outlets are raising doubts about the sustainability of this interest, implying that Clark may not be the only factor in the league's success. But let's face it, the numbers speak for themselves.
Caitlin Clark is the golden goose. Not most, not all, but some people spent some time resenting her for it.
The crowded arenas, the rapidly rising TV ratings, the social media buzz indicates a dramatic change in the way the public views the WNBA, and although Clark may not be solely responsible, it is certain that she has been the driving force behind this amazing metamorphosis. Picture this crowded bar with fans on the edge of their seats. Everyone is glued to the screen, but it's a WNBA game during the regular season, not the NBA playoffs or March Madness. This is the Clark effect in action. Instead of just watching, people are actively participating, cheering, debating, and living every second of the game. It's as if we've entered a parallel universe where women's basketball is the most popular ticket in town.
Ticket sales grew in 2023 by 16% from 2022. Ticket sales have grown by 93% in 2024. What that means is without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA would have taken till 2029 or 2030 to get to where Caitlin Clark has gotten them today. Before the 2023 season, the WNBA had grown by 40% viewership from 2022 to 2023. But with Caitlin Clark's arrival, it's grown by 400% viewership.
And this is where things start to get really interesting. It's not just the typical sports crowd. We're seeing new faces, diverse crowds, and people who might not have given the WNBA a second glance before. Clark isn't just expanding the league's fan base. She's converting casual viewers into diehard fans faster than she can make a three-pointer. But here's the big question. Can the league maintain this momentum? The WNBA isn't just having a moment. It's having a movement, with Clark leading the charge and other stars rising to meet the challenge. We might be seeing the beginning of a new era in women's basketball, so buckle up, because if this is just the beginning, just think where we'll be in a few years.
Caitlin Clark is the GOAT.
Just watching her passion in the game, the way she just plays with her team. I like when she just shoots from half court, she's crazy.
Not only did Caitlin Clark transform the game, but she is also changing the rules for women's basketball. We are seeing history being made, and it won't stop anytime soon. The WNBA is quickly becoming a popular sports league, and Clark is at the forefront of it all.
There's an opportunity for a lot of financial growth. He says almost 30,000 more fans will come to Fever games with Clark on the team. Dr. Michael Hicks believes this will bring in over $2 million of extra revenue.
So, will you follow the WNBA revolution or fall behind? This isn't a fad. Rather, it's a seismic upheaval in the sports industry, with full arenas and record-breaking TV ratings. The influence is indisputable. Don't be the one to lament that you wish you had listened when everyone was discussing how women's basketball changed forever. The future of sports is occurring right now, and you're in the front row.
One look at the crowd size will tell you just how much Clark is changing the women's game. And that will only continue.
So